Here to comment on the Irish Republican Army and Mr. Adams and others of his ilk and the reception they receive in places like Boston is our friend Howie Carr, Skyping in today, the talk show host at WRKO Radio, and of course, the prolific columnist of the Boston Herald. Howie, welcome back to America's Forum. The story of Gerry Adams' arrest, what's the reaction been to that news in Boston?
Well, he has a pretty good reputation around here. He spent a lot of time here in the over the years, and he's pretty good friends with the former mayor, Ray Flynn, and everybody around here was sort of surprised. You know, it's but on the other hand, the actual evidence against him came from these two now deceased members of the provisional wing of the Irish Republican Army who had given interviews to researchers from Boston College. So this was the evidence that the authorities used in Ulster to bring him in and question him for 92 hours about this. I'm not sure. People around here are happy that he's been released, and that there's it's breaking down along the usual lines. People are saying that it's an attempt to influence the upcoming elections for the European Union, and that they're trying to dust up the pro unification forces in Ireland. On the other hand, though, I mean, they got these two guys. I mean, they're deceased, and I don't really know why they would lie. And there's always been a lot of speculation that Gerry Adams was a lot more involved in the sort of the wet work, if you will, of the Irish Republican Army than he let on.
Well, you have a situation too where green is more than the color we so often associate with Ireland, Howie, in terms of American cash going to the IRA. I don't know if there are figures out there, but how much money do you imagine Gerry Adams picked up in a place like Boston, or the IRA picked up from those sympathetic with their position over the years?
Well, it wasn't just money, JD. I mean, one reason they wanted the money was to buy weapons, and one of the big weapon suppliers was Whitey Bulger, the gangster I've written about. There were a couple of people who worked with Whitey. One of them was actually his fellow gangsters was actually born in Ireland, and he and a major marijuana dealer, probably the biggest guy on the East Coast, a guy named Joe Murray from Charlestown, they were heavy into smuggling guns to the Irish Republican Army, and they actually sent a ship out, and they called the Valhalla back in the 1980s, and the ship offloaded to a boat called the Merida Ann. And that was stopped by the Irish and English navies. And on that boat, they actually found not only a bunch of automatic rifles and grenades and mortars, that kind of thing. They also found a bulletproof vest issued by the Boston Police Department to the brother of Whitey Bulger's partner, who was on the police force. So I mean, there was definitely a direct link from Boston here, and all the Irish bars, JD, used to have these little containers around, like you instead of donating to the March of Dimes or the Jimmy Fund, you donate to some kind of Irish group, but everybody was really going to the Irish Republican Army.
Howie, let's turn to another subject. Barbara Lee, the congresswoman from California, had to say.
I was a small business owner before I came to Congress for 11 years, 300 plus employees. Believe you me, we not only paid a higher minimum wage, we paid a living wage. Productivity was off the scale, no turnover. You can't tell me that when companies paid decent, good wages with good benefits, they make money. In California, more than likely, from what I remembered, a living wage where people could live and take care of their families and move toward achieving the American dream was about $25, $26 an hour.
So would you support that as a minimum wage for California?
Absolutely, I would support it for California.
Barbara Lee talking about the minimum wage, saying she was in small business. It's worth noting that Barbara's parents retired to Sun City, Arizona, but that's another subject. Anyway, Barbara.
I can't imagine she ran a small business, JD. I looked her up on Wikipedia when I saw this clip this morning and said, what was her background? I didn't see anything about employing 300 people. I mean, this is obviously crazy. You know, they talk about raising the minimum wage to $10 is supposed to cut, according to studies, somewhere between 500,000 and a million jobs in the United States. So, I mean, talk about raising it from $10 to $26. It would probably cost, I don't know, 5 million, 10 million jobs. I know it would cost my daughter her job. She started at a bakery. She's 17, making $8 an hour. She learned how to, you know, make a few more complicated pastries. She just got a raise to $9 an hour. But I mean, there's no way she's worth $26 an hour. If we're going to go that route, JD, why don't we just raise everybody's pay to $100 an hour or $200 an hour?
Well, that is the valid point. And again, a couple of notes about the minimum wage. It's designed for entry-level positions. And once you learn, as you offered the real-life example of your daughter, I'll give you the courtesy of a friendly amendment. You were saying in terms of her pastry training, she might not be worth $20, but obviously to you, she's priceless. Want to make sure nobody misinterprets that, Howie.
Absolutely,
I got your back, even though you're not running for public office. Us talk show guys and guts-up conservatives have to stick together. But yeah, the idea is you start out, you learn, and you move up. You don't stay a lifelong minimum wage earner, but there is this.
Right.
Go ahead, sir. You got last word, 30 seconds.
One of the best lessons of the minimum wage is I don't want to have this job forever, right? I want to move up. I want to learn how to make the Danish pastry.
Upward and
I want
onward.
to learn how to make the muffins.
Exactly. Right. That's what's got to happen. The thing about the minimum wage, you don't want to stay on it for a lifetime. Howie, we appreciate your time as always. It's great to have your insights and analysis. So when we come back, I'm just kind of curious, your thoughts on the minimum wage? Your thoughts on Barbara Lee as a, quote, small business owner? Why don't you tweet us your comments at NewsmaxTV, hashtag America's Forum. Email us, connect@newsmaxtv.com, and there's facebook.com/Newsmax. We're coming right back.